Join us for an immersive experience that redefines leadership through the lens of strategic rest in Greensboro, North Carolina on June 7th, 2025. We'll see you there.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to Power Nap Live. I'm Dr. Erin Wilson, and I'm here with the hostess with the mostest. Y'all know her, y'all love her, Dr. K. And today we're gonna dig into something that for me keeps showing up in my coaching sessions, in leadership spaces, even on this show that I'm watching. Have you ever heard of Love on the Spectrum?
Mhm.
You have? Okay. I've been watching that. That got me through my flight from Boston recently. And so the question that I have, well, first I'm going to ask you how you're doing, and then we'll jump into that question.
Yeah. Well, I think about 5 days post-op from oral surgery. My talking is kind of, I try to keep it as limited as possible. But of course, I had some speaking engagements this past week on Friday. But it's definitely one of those you can tell when I haven't been talking. And to start talking, it's like, oh, maybe I need to stop talking more often. um, but yeah, it's a new normal for me right now.
I love that. I've been hearing lots of people say that they really love going to silent retreats. Have you ever been to a silent retreat?
Just no, at my home.
Yeah. You said a free silent retreat. I hear that. Absolutely. Well, I'm hoping, as I've said before, I hope you recover incredibly quickly, because this is a labor of love for you. Like, you're still showing up for people in order for them to get their 30 minutes that they need in order to have a week that's hopefully in alignment with strategic rest. So with that, I have a question.
Mhm.
Why is it so hard for people to just ask what we need? Like, why is it so hard for people to just ask for what we need?
Hmm.
It's so
Um,
wild to me that most people would rather burn out than to risk asking boldly. And where did that come from? Why is my
yeah.
question to people.
Well, I'm one of those people. I actually wrote a whole section about it in my most recent book. So I can speak from experience why it's been difficult, hard for me to ask for what I need is part of it. One is this story that I've told myself that I have to do something in return, not knowing what that is,
Mm.
right? And so if I ask someone for something I need, it's kind of like they'll leverage it, hold it over me, so to speak. I think the other piece is just honestly not knowing how to put in words what I need. Um, has also been a challenge for me. And I think, well, I know, the more I've become self-aware of who I am and realizing that I know I cannot do life alone, and I don't want to. Um, that if I don't know the words, that I need to sit down, relax, and talk to God about what those words are, and who I need to communicate those words to for what I need, but also differentiating between what I need versus what I want or think that I need. And I'm thankful that I'm surrounded by oftentimes people who hold me accountable, but I also can see things that I need that I don't know that I need.
Mm.
Right. Which for me takes out the guessing game. But it's a real thing. That even the most successful people, that whoever people claim is successful, have that. And it doesn't go away very quickly.
Absolutely. That's the thing. It's work, right? It's a practice. It's a constant, like, focus. I think you have to be incredibly, not I think, I know you have to be intentional about asking for what you want. But once you start doing it, you start to me, like, I don't know, it's kind of like, oh, you've learned something new, and it feels rewarding, so you start to do it more because it feels good,
Yeah.
right? And here's the thing, it doesn't always feel good. I
Mhm.
have Willie in the comments, super excited that the team is back together. Yes, we are. And saying that it has to be modeled, and
Mhm.
if you are, if let's see, if the model is due to lack, then where do you start? Ooh,
Mhm.
my goodness.
Yep.
That took me for a
That's
loop
right.
for a second, right? Because when you think about it, oftentimes people's, that's so wild, the juxtaposition of the fact that you lack but still won't ask for what you want.
Mhm. Because
Like,
lacking is very familiar.
mm,
Um, when I was speaking on Friday, talking about strategic rest,
mhm,
one of the things that I said, even if people never tell you, you're a model for them. They're looking at your behavior and they're going to model your behavior.
absolutely.
And I said these exact words. I said, so how dare you have the audacity to tell someone to be rested when you're not willing to rest yourself?
Mm,
And so, how dare, and I'll speak for me, how dare I say to people to be bold enough to ask for what you need if I don't do it myself?
absolutely. I was working with,
Yeah.
of course, I keep stuff confidential when you're working with your coaching clients, right? But one of the things that really stuck out to me was a client kind of talking about something that they needed. And my question to them was, did you ask the person? Did you ask for this to be any different? And they were like, well, now that you say that, think I've ever mentioned to that person that I want this specific thing to be different, or to figure out why this person does this the way that they do, or if I have ever shown any kind of preference or had a conversation. And so they went and asked, and the person was like, yeah, sure. I just always thought that was what you wanted to happen, right? So here's the thing, it's important for us, especially as we're getting into the habit of asking people for what we want, that we stop letting rejection, we
Mhm.
stop letting appearing weak, we stop letting not knowing what we want at all to get in the way of the work that we need to do, and ultimately to the rest that we require. So
Mhm.
if you've been waiting for someone, if you've been waiting for someone to read your mind, then today is your permission to stop that. this
Yeah,
is this is the permission.
it's
Okay,
not gonna
I'm
happen.
inviting you to stop that.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. And I think naturally we operate with people through our own experience and how we want to be operated with, but we don't communicate that to folks.
Right.
We live in a world of assumptions because if you see me do it one or two times, then you should already know.
Mm,
No, that's not how it goes. Just because I see you put on blue shirts every day doesn't mean that blue is your favorite color and I need to go buy you another blue shirt. It may mean that, hey, I'm like Dr. K and I ain't did my laundry and I ain't folded up nothing and all the blue shirts I wore 2 months ago. So I know they're at the bottom of the pile and I don't feel like, picking a red shirt from the bottom of the pile. So, I think I know we live in a world of assumptions, but also a world of illusion. Uh,
mm,
illusions that people see us when we think that people see us, but they really don't. It's hard to see something that's not there. Many
mm,
people talk about who they are, but that's not what they show the world. And the illusion of this is who I am and this is how I show up, that's not what people see. That's not what people see. And we've done it so long that it's become very familiar to us and comfortable. So, when we think about asking somebody for something we need and et cetera, it's like, I'd rather just live in this space because I'm good here. And I don't mind having a confrontation here or there than to do the work. And some people really feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them people anymore. Life is exhausting in itself. I don't need to make it more exhausting because I refuse to ask for help, or I refuse to acknowledge what I need, or spend some time with self to realize that who I was 2 days ago is not who I am today. Right.
Absolutely.
And Tuesday I went into a dentist's office with all of my teeth. Tuesday, after an hour, I left that office with a hole in my mouth.
Mm.
Who I am when I walked in is not who I am, right? My
Absolutely.
mindset has shifted in
Yes.
terms of, now I'm thinking, oh gosh, how do what does this life look like to have a hole in my mouth, right?
Yes.
Nothing has really changed about me per se, but the structure has. And
Yes.
as someone who used to want to be an architect, when you think about the structure of a building, of a house, when something changes, then you need to regroup some things. And a
Mm.
lot of people allow structure changes to happen, but they don't regroup and think
Yeah.
that it will still be a house.
Mm. I so y'all know we talk about rest a whole lot, right? And one of the things that I feel like when people are not asking for what they need, or I'm not even gonna say asking for what they need, because oftentimes people will offer you help that you didn't even ask for, and you will refuse it for reasons that I will never understand, right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you an example. I was just at the airport, okay? Dallas Fort Worth Airport. Listen, count your days. No, I'm just kidding. They're working on the parking garage in Terminal C. Okay, so I typically do not drive to the airport. Okay, me and my little Uber or driver or whatever the case is gets me, drops me off, and I'm done. But I had a keynote before I had to head to Boston this week, and I had to like do the keynote, jump off the stage, and get to the airport so I could get to Boston on time to be with my clients there, right? So I ended up driving because it would have been easier than the location that I was to get an Uber and figure out like how to tell them how to get to me, all kind of stuff. So anyway, long story short, I am getting back home, right? And I'm, of course, gone all over the airport with these heavy bags. I got them myself. And I get on the terminal trolley and it drops me off at C, right? Now, unbeknownst to me, because it seemed incredibly easy when I got there, that it was only one flight of stairs. They don't have an elevator, right? It was only one flight of stairs that I went down to roll my little self into the airport and jump on my flight, right? When I got back, where the tram leaves you was on the bottom floor. I had
Mhm.
climbed up 4 flights of stairs and had no idea, right? So here I am, y'all, breathing hard. Like I was like, this is it. For my husband, they're gonna call my husband and say, Erin is at the bottom of the stairs. She's still there. Okay, still there. I got those bags up 3 flights, and I was like, I cannot. I'm just gonna sleep at the airport. I cannot do this fourth. I can't do it. There's no way I can do it. Okay, my bags were so heavy because when I go with clients, you know this, I bring a lot of things. You never know what you might need. I have all kind of supplies. This was a big group, so I needed a bunch of stuff. So my bag was so heavy. All of a sudden, when I literally about to burst into tears, right? Because I was so frustrated and tired and annoyed, and somebody walks up behind me, this lady and her husband, and the lady looks at me and says, "Oh my goodness, did you pull that from the bottom?" And I go, "I did, and I cannot go any further. I'll move out of your way so y'all can take the stairs." So she's like, "Oh no, my husband can help you." The husband looked at her like, he looked at me like, "Girl," and I was like, "This bag is super heavy, so I understand if you do not want to help." And he was like, "No, no." So it was before he could even say anything, right? She was like, "No." So this guy out of nowhere drags this bag up these last big flight of stairs for me, right? And I am just so happy.
Mhm.
It gave me the strength to be able to do the long walk that I still had to do to get to my car, right?
Mhm.
But oftentimes we don't accept help. I was just talking to my little sister about this. She was moving and didn't accept help. And finally she did at her place. And it gave her the ability to be able to rest. The same thing for me. When we don't accept the help and the rest that somebody's given to us, we don't have the energy or the strength to be able to do what we actually have to do to finish the mission, to
Right.
finish that we're called to do. Like, saying that I need rest or saying that I need help, to me, is one of the most courageous things that a leader can do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people are missing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been to the Fort Worth airport once, and it was quite interesting. And I've been to a couple of different airports and thought they were interesting, but this one was definitely different in terms of catching one of those little trams that fly with
Yes.
the weather. And I was like, somebody need to come in and talk to y'all because what is this?
We need an intervention. And today I'm about to be at the forefront of that. Because I had been impacted because me and my little Uber Black was just riding where it needed to go. Do you see what I'm saying? But now, no more. I can't stand by silently and let people go through what I had to go through. Yes.
And think about when you say standby. I think so. I wasn't here last week because I unplugged from everything and went to the beach.
Yep.
And I talk often to folks, and I don't know if I said it on here. The beach is a sense of restoration because it reminds me being at the water, especially the Atlantic water. That's where my ancestors were
Mm.
or are, right? That were forced, you know, um, to travel, and some didn't make it, and stayed in the Atlantic water. And so when I go to the beach, the Atlantic beach, and I place my feet in the water and just let it rise and come back and etc. And it's a space of meditation for me. And I think about how they helped one another as much as they could, and the strength that they had for some of them to ask for help when they didn't really want to. And they were up against a lot more than I can name in my life to be up against, right? And so if I can model just a little bit of that strength and asking for help for people who belittle me, who talk bad to me, people who put them on crosses, put them, beat them, brutalize them, and still ask need to ask for help because they needed something and they know that these people were the only people that can give it to them. If I can just model a little bit of that strength, I'm more successful than I'll ever be, and I can't ask for anything more, right? And so I think about that in terms of when I know I need something to ask for it, but also having a discernment about who I'm asking, right? And so for me, discernment is key. You know, you're not going to ask everybody to do everything for you, right? But discernment requires practice, right? It requires clarity, which stems from rest. And so, as I think about even yesterday, I was at an event, and I had three big boxes with me that I ended up putting in my car because I'm the only one at my house, so I ain't had no choice. But when I got there, and I walked in and I was like, I'm not taking these big boxes. I'm already drained. And want to just take a nap. I walked in and there was a gentleman in there, and I just looked at. I don't even know if I said hello. And I said, "Sir, can you help me take these boxes in here?" And he said, "Yeah," and he helped me take the boxes, and then I got to sit down, and it was just so I would have if you would have, if that was 2-3 weeks ago, probably would have did it myself.
Mm.
I knew my strength wasn't where it has always been because the soft diet is really different. I don't know how people do it, so I'm not eating as much for that energy, but I needed help and I asked for it.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, people still talk to me. People
And,
still wanted hugs. People still
yep.
asked and said, "Are you doing hugs today?" And I was able to say, "Well, now I can." Right?
Absolutely.
No one belittle. Nothing changed. Joy was
Nothing
still
changed.
there even after asking for help.
When
Right?
something did change, you got the help. So
Well,
you were in a better space. Does that make sense?
mhm.
Yeah. That's so wild because that aligns perfectly. I wrote down as I was um just kind of thinking about, what we would talk about. So most people have no idea, but Dr. Hay and I do not talk at all about what we will talk about, like at all. This is really a conversation. I don't think I've ever shared that before. We do not talk before the show about what we're going to talk about. So we literally just let this flow because it's live and we wanted to feel like we wanted to feel just like our conversations that we have with each other. So, but as I was thinking about what I wanted to ask you today, I kind of wrote down a question, right? And I want to pose it to everyone who's watching, okay? It is, what's one thing that you wish someone knew about you this week? Right? What's one thing that you wish someone knew about you this week? And then once you figure out what that is, I want you to ask yourself, now, what would it look like for me to actually say it?
Mm.
Oftentimes we don't get what we need when it comes to rest, when it comes to anything, when it comes to life, when it comes to love, when it comes to work, when it comes to play, whatever it is, because we're afraid of being too much, asking for too much, or asking people to do something. When the thing is, when you're asking, you finally asking is asking for enough,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I was trying to find in my book where I was talking about needing but not asking, etc. And one of the things that I wrote is oftentimes, probably 90% of the time, I need a me for me.
Yeah.
I honor the gift and talent that God has given me to pour into others. But oftentimes in my life, I need a me.
Mm.
And earlier this week, right after my surgery, I had, and I've talked about often, Zeta Mika of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, who are near and dear to me. And I was texting one of them. I had sent them a copy of my book, and she had started reading it. And she was like, "I got to talk to you." And my first thought was, "Oh, I just don't feel like talking." And she said, "No worries. You don't even have to talk because you cannot talk right now. Your role is just to listen."
Ooh.
And I said, "Wait, you can call me right now then." She shut me up real quick.
she got
And
you together.
I got on the phone with her, and the way that I could tell it was spirit led, the conversation that she was having with me. And she was pouring into me and pouring into me. She was like, "I don't think it's a mistake that at this very moment that you're not able to talk. Just listen, because you need to hear this." And she's like, "We ain't never met. I ain't never met this woman a day in my life.
Wow.
Never met her." And the way she poured into me, it was like I needed that. I needed that. And I'm not the one that's gonna go out and, "Oh, I need someone to talk to me," and etc. Because discernment is real, for me. But having that is important, right? And oftentimes I have created a story that I don't get that, because people look at me as though, since you're the one always pouring, that you don't need it, and I need it the most,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So I am thankful. Shout out to Winnie, out in New York, for being that person for me this week, and continues to be that person with the inspiration that she's messaged me and etc. So thank you, Winnie, for doing that for me. So yeah, I need a me for me. I need someone to sit down and say, "Hey, you don't talk. Just listen to me talk. Thank you,
Yeah. Love
thank
it.
you." Because though the gift is real and I enjoy giving through voice, sometimes I just want to listen to folks.
Mhm.
Let them pour into me, let them tell me something, teach me something. And I think sometimes when you're up at a certain status in your life, you feel like, oh, people can't tell me now. You can tell me anything.
Yeah.
Now, what I choose to do with what you tell me is on me, but you can tell me anything. Don't leave me out.
Don't leave me out. What was it? Wild on others. Thou
Right.
art calling.
Come
Okay.
on. Don't listen.
We ain't gonna get too
Listen.
oily this morning because we'll go there real fast. But I can't believe it. It's already 10:27, and so this week I want to challenge everyone watching and people who will watch the playback, because we have quite a few people who, of course, watch the playback since we do this live at 10 o'clock on Sundays, 11 if you Eastern Standard Time. Okay, but this week I really want you to make at least one brave ask.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one brave ask is what I'm asking you to do this week. Okay, whether it's for time, whether it's for support, whether it's for clarity, whether it's for rest, right? For strategic rest. Okay, it's so funny whenever I go to places, lots of people go like, I'm doing strategic rest. It's so wild to me that is something people do, and it's something we literally thought of in order for people to not experience burnout. It's just wild to me. But as I'm giving you this charge, I want you to say what you need this week. I need you to say what you need. Okay, so in the comments, even if you're watching this as a replay, I want you to drop in whatever comments you are, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, I hope you're watching on YouTube. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that so more people can see the show because they need it. But I want you to tell us, what are you going to be asking for this week? Drop that in the comments. I want to know, because what I have found is that asking isn't weakness. Okay, it's wisdom kind of wrapped up in courage.
Mm-hmm.
And we need more of that, and I want that for each of you this week. So
Yeah.
what is your brave ask? And I want to know. Drop it in the comments whenever you watch this. Let us know. My brave ask is blah blah blah, and we can't wait to reply and see what that is for you this week.
Yeah. Asking questions is hard in itself.
Ooh. Yeah.
And as a coach, it doesn't make it any easier, right? But as a coach, all you do is ask questions.
Right.
And in that, I've learned how difficult it can be to formalize what do I want to put in the question, right? That will help the individual come with clarity, right?
Yes.
So it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. For
Absolutely.
someone to ask a question, whether it's to themselves or to someone else for something they need, etc., and to formulate what that takes time and strength, right? And so I commend people who take the charge, the call to action, and hope and pray that clarity comes from the question that you ask, and that it leads to rest strategically, but also leads to a space of knowing that you are worthy to have a need, you are worthy to be helped, right? There are so many people that want to be helped that aren't being helped, um, for whatever reason. And when you have the ability to ask for help, do it, because some people don't even have the privilege to do that.
And accept help that just shows up. Accept it. Stop saying no, I got this. When life can be better when you allow someone to show up for you. Even people you don't know. I don't know that man. I don't know that woman. Sorry to this man and sorry to this woman. But I am so grateful for them. I prayed for them last night, and I will probably continue to pray for them because I'm so grateful for what they did. And that small impact made such a big difference on my life. And I'm just so grateful. So
Yeah.
be that for other people, but don't be afraid to ask for what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I've got some folks in the comments that were saying, look, so somebody else said that they've been praying for me, like you were talking about. And let's see. Oh, we've already got a brave ask that I see coming through. Her brave ask, Erica, Dr. Chambers, her brave ask was getting help with a move that she did. And she accepted help and even asked for some when she needed it. And so, especially when that's tough for you to do, I'm incredibly proud. So we cannot wait to see what your asks are. I'm Southern, so I got to make sure I say asks. Or it'll sound like I'm saying something else, what those are this week. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share this with somebody if something we said really touched you. And that's it, folks. We will see you next Sunday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Until then, make good decisions and make sure that you practice strategic rest. Oh, wait, we forgot. Y'all, this week a time will be had. This weekend is the Strategic Rest Summit. So if y'all see us, we finna be outside, okay, having a good time. I'll be back in North Carolina with Dr. K. With a fantastic group of folks who have come to be intentional about making a plan about their strategic rest. I cannot wait to support them with that. I know Dr. K can't wait either. And they're going to be getting some fantastic swag bags, some good food, and tons of fun. So anyway, if you would like a ticket, maybe it's last minute or whatever the case is, we'll make it happen for you. If you really want to be there, just message us, send us a comment, whatever the case is. All right, folks. Again, like I said, make sure that you make good decisions, practice strategic rest this week, and make sure that you're brave, okay, in asking for what you want. We will see you back in the same place on Sunday. Bye. Take care.
Join us for an immersive experience that redefines leadership through the lens of strategic rest in Greensboro, North Carolina on June 7th, 2025. We'll see you there.